The night sky over Earth was no longer filled with stars. It was covered with shadows, massive alien warships blocking the light as they moved into orbit. People across the planet looked up in fear, some screaming, some falling silent, unable to believe what they were seeing. The invasion had begun without warning. Cities shook as the first blasts came down, explosions lighting up the ground like firestorms. Humanity had prepared for war, but no one had imagined something of this size. The alien fleet stretched further than the eye could see. Hundreds of giant ships, each bristling with weapons that made Earth's defenses look small. Panic spread in every corner of the world as humans realized they were outmatched. Earth's defense fleets scrambled into position. From hidden bases, from orbiting stations, from underground hangars, human warships rose like sparks against a storm. Their commanders barked orders, voices shaking but determined. "Hold the line! Protect Earth at all costs!" The fleet surged forward, their engines burning bright blue against the black void. Human soldiers inside those ships gripped their weapons, some whispering prayers, others swearing vengeance. They all knew the truth. This could be the last stand of humanity. The first clash came fast. Alien warships opened fire, beams of green light cutting across space. Entire human ships were torn apart in seconds, their burning wrecks falling toward Earth like meteors. But humanity struck back. Missiles and railguns screamed into the dark, slamming against alien shields. Some alien ships shuddered under the force, but most stood firm, untouched, like mountains in a storm. Every soldier felt the same sinking thought. Nothing was working. On Earth, civilians huddled in shelters, watching the battle through shaky transmissions. Families held each other, their faces pale in the glow of screens. Every time a human ship was destroyed, a gasp rippled across the planet. It felt hopeless, yet no one dared to look away. Humanity's spirit was still burning, even as the sky itself seemed to fall apart. Up in orbit, Admiral Hayes stood on the command bridge of Earth's flagship, his eyes fixed on the chaos. His fleet was dying around him, but his voice never wavered. "We fight until the last ship. Humanity will not bow." The officers beside him nodded, even as fear tightened their throats. They all saw the truth. The alien fleet was endless, and Earth would not survive this alone. Then something happened. A sound cut across the comm channels, a strange signal no one recognized. Technicians scrambled, trying to decode it, their hands moving fast over glowing screens. The signal was strong, steady, and unlike anything they had seen before. Suddenly sensors lit up. Something huge was entering the system, far beyond Pluto, moving at impossible speed. It was not human, not alien, at least not like any ship they had faced before. "Unknown contact," shouted the radar officer. "Massive energy signature. Size bigger than anything in our records." Admiral Hayes turned sharply. "Where is it headed?" The officer's voice shook. "Direct course for Earth, sir." Across the battlefield, both humans and aliens detected it at the same time. The alien fleet paused, their ships holding back for the first time since the war began. Fear rippled through their ranks as they studied the incoming warship. It dwarfed even their largest carriers. Its shape was strange, black metal twisted with glowing veins of blue light, like something alive and ancient. No records matched it, no race claimed it. On Earth, civilians looked up at the night sky, their screams fading into silence as a new shadow appeared larger than all others. It drifted closer, not firing, not speaking, only watching. Its hull shone with patterns that no one could understand. Some whispered it was a weapon from humanity's forgotten past. Others believed it was a god of war sent to save or destroy them. The alien commander snarled orders, trying to mask his unease. "Fire on the intruder! Do not let it approach." Green lances of alien energy lit up the void, slamming against the newcomer. But the blasts vanished on impact, absorbed into its dark surface without leaving a scratch. Gasps echoed across human command bridges. If alien weapons could not hurt it, then what could? Inside Earth's shelters, children clutched their parents. The broadcasts showed the mysterious warship hovering above the blue planet, silent and unreadable. Its engines pulsed slowly, like the beat of a heart. Every second that passed built the tension higher. Who commanded it? Why was it here? Admiral Hayes gripped the edge of his command chair, sweat on his brow. If it is friend, we may yet live. If it is foe, Earth is already lost. The mysterious warship shifted position, turning its massive hull to face the alien fleet. For the first time, its weapons began to glow. The light spread across its surface like fire waking from sleep. Both humans and aliens held their breath. The silence was unbearable, the weight of destiny pressing on every soul who watched. Then it fired. One single beam of white-hot light cut through the void. An alien battleship, larger than a city, exploded instantly, torn apart as if it were paper. No wreckage remained, just dust drifting where it had stood. Shockwaves spread across the battlefield, not from the blast, but from the realization. The aliens, who had seemed untouchable, had just been destroyed with a single shot. Humanity, broken and desperate, stared at the sky with wide eyes. The balance of power had shifted in a heartbeat, but no one yet knew the answer to the question burning in every mind. Had the warship come to save humanity, or to finish them? The battlefield over Earth had gone silent, but the silence was not peace. Every warship, human and alien alike, turned its senses toward the newcomer. The mysterious vessel hung in orbit, larger than any ship in history, its black hull carved with glowing blue veins that pulsed like veins of light. No one spoke over the comm channels. No orders were given. Even the alien fleet, so confident moments before, hesitated. This was something beyond their understanding. Humanity's fleets, battered and burning, floated in the shadow of the warship. Survivors clung to hope, but also trembled with fear. If this vessel had destroyed one alien battleship with such ease, what else could it do? The question whispered through every soldier's mind, was this humanity's salvation or its executioner? Inside the human flagship, Admiral Hayes stood stiff, eyes locked on the new arrival. His crew waited for him to speak, but even he had no words. Finally he whispered, "Hail them. Whoever they are, we need answers." His voice was steady, but his heart pounded. Communications officers sent signals, their consoles flashing as they tried every frequency known to Earth. Nothing. The warship remained silent, its glowing patterns shifting like waves across its hull. It was as if the ship was alive, listening, waiting. On the alien side, commanders shouted in anger. Their council had promised dominance, promised Earth would fall within hours. But now their victory trembled before their eyes. "Destroy it!" The alien overlord barked, his voice sharp with fear, disguised as rage. Across the fleet, weapons charged. Hundreds of green lances of energy streaked across space, crashing into the warship's shields. But nothing happened. The beams vanished as though swallowed into nothingness, leaving not even a flicker on its surface. The alien crews froze. Their most powerful weapons had done nothing. Panic spread like wildfire through their ranks. On Earth, billions watched in stunned silence. Civilians in bunkers clutched one another, staring at broadcasts that showed the warship looming above their planet. Some whispered prayers, some fell to their knees, and some dared to hope. It destroyed them. "Maybe it's here for us," one man muttered, his voice shaking. "Or maybe," another replied darkly, "it's here to finish the job." Minutes stretched into eternity. The warship still gave no response. Human fleets floated uneasily, their captains exchanging nervous glances. Should they trust it? Should they prepare to fire? Every commander waited for Hayes's voice, but the admiral himself was paralyzed by the weight of the unknown. Finally, a tremor ran through the void. The warship moved. Slowly, deliberately, it tilted, aiming its massive hull toward Earth itself. "God help us," Hayes whispered. Screams rose from the bunkers as the people saw the ship turning. It was not pointing at the aliens. It was pointing at them. Parents clutched children, soldiers tightened grips on their weapons, as if bullets could fight something so vast. The glowing patterns across the hull shifted, spreading brighter and brighter. For a moment it looked like the ship was charging to fire. Humanity braced for the end, then it stopped. Without warning, docking bays along the side of the warship opened. Light poured out like gates of a cathedral opening in space. Inside, human eyes widened. Dozens, no hundreds of smaller craft emerged. They were not alien designs. They were unmistakably human. Their sleek silver hulls carried markings of Earth's long-lost colonies, ships no one had seen in centuries. Some bore flags from nations that had fallen long ago. Gasps echoed across command bridges. These were human ships, but where had they come from? Admiral Hayes leaned forward, his voice cracking for the first time. "Those are ours, that's impossible." The alien overlord roared in fury. "This is human trickery. They built this warship in secret. Crush them!" He ordered another strike, but his officers hesitated. Fear was heavy in their eyes. If this was truly humanity's weapon, then their invasion had awakened something far worse than they expected. On the mysterious warship, the smaller craft formed a shield around the human fleets, protecting the survivors like guardians. Yet still, no voice came from the warship itself. It hovered silent and patient, its motives unreadable. Every second made the tension worse. Was this an army from humanity's forgotten past, returning at the moment of Earth's doom? Or was this the opening move of something darker? Suddenly the warship's hull shifted again. This time it was not silent. A sound rolled across every comm system, so deep it rattled through bones. At first it was only noise, like the growl of a storm. Then words formed. 3 words, heavy and final. "This is humanity." The voices overlapped, male, female, young, old, like millions speaking as one. The words echoed in every ear, impossible to ignore. Soldiers froze. Civilians gasped. Even the alien overlord's scales paled at the sound. This warship was no stranger. It claimed to be human. But what did that mean? Admiral Hayes felt his throat tighten. His fleet, broken and bloodied, now stood under the shadow of something beyond understanding. If this ship was truly humanity's, then Earth was no longer weak. But if it was lying, then humanity had welcomed its destroyer into their orbit. The mysterious warship turned its glowing weapons toward the alien fleet again. The power building across its hull grew brighter than before, brighter than the sun. Every soul in the galaxy watching knew the next moment would decide everything, and then the warship fired. The screen went white. Across the galaxy, the shock spread faster than any transmission could carry. Every alien council chamber, every war command post, every fleet admiral received the same feed, a single mysterious warship, firing a beam of white-hot energy that erased entire alien battleships in an instant. The footage repeated again and again across networks, and in every replay, the fear grew stronger. These were not just victories for humanity, they were humiliations for the mighty empires that had ruled the stars for centuries. The galaxy had mocked Earth, calling them weak, backward, unfit for survival. But now those same voices trembled, whispering the same question. How could humans possess such power? In the alien High Council's grand chamber, leaders of dozens of species gathered, their faces grim. Holograms of the battle glowed across the room, showing the Earth system under siege. Aliens with scaled skin, creatures with insect mandibles, and beings wrapped in shadows all argued at once. "This warship does not belong to humanity," one counselor hissed, slamming a clawed hand on the table. "It is too advanced, too ancient." Perhaps they uncovered something buried on their cursed world. Others shook their heads fearful. It fought for them. It shielded them. Whether built or found, it is theirs now. The alien overlord who had led the fleet at Earth struggled to keep control. His fleet had been unstoppable before the warship's arrival. Yet now, pieces of his shattered armada drifted like burning wreckage above Earth. His reputation was ruined. His voice shook as he spoke to the council. "We underestimated them. This warship is not just a weapon. It is a symbol. The humans will believe it is their protector, their destiny. If we do not crush it now, the entire galaxy will rally to their side." The chamber fell silent. For the first time in centuries, the council felt real fear. Meanwhile, aboard Earth's battered flagship, Admiral Hayes stared at the wreckage outside his window. Human fleets had been slaughtered hours earlier, but now they drifted beneath the protection of the warship's shadow. The mysterious vessel floated above Earth, its hull glowing faintly with the energy of its last attack. Hayes's crew whispered around him, some in awe, some in terror. "It saved us," one officer murmured, "but why?" Hayes did not answer. He did not trust miracles. He had fought wars long enough to know nothing came without a price. In the bunkers below, civilians were no less divided. Some cheered, believing this was the moment humanity had been waiting for. They shouted in relief, crying out that Earth was no longer alone. Others trembled, staring at the giant shape in the sky. "What if it's only playing with us?" One woman whispered, clutching her child close. "What if we're just the next target?" Every second of silence from the warship was both comfort and torment. The alien survivors orbiting Earth were no less shaken. Their commanders barked desperate orders to regroup, but no one dared to fire again. The memory of their flagship turning to ash haunted their minds. Crews whispered among themselves, some demanding retreat, others swearing vengeance. Discipline frayed. The warship's presence had broken them before the battle was even finished. Then the warship spoke again. Its voice rolled through every ship, every bunker, every council chamber. It was deep and layered, not one voice but millions. "This world is under humanity's shield. Any who strike it again will share the fate of those already destroyed." The words chilled even Earth's defenders. The warship spoke with authority, with judgment, like an ancient king declaring law. Hayes's crew exchanged uneasy glances. "It claims to protect us," one officer said, "but it speaks as though it owns us." On the alien homeworlds, the declaration was met with horror. "It speaks for humanity," a counselor whispered, "and humanity listens." Another slammed his fist, furious. "This cannot be allowed. If humans believe they have been chosen, they will rise against us all." The council erupted into chaos. Plans were made, forbidden weapons considered, desperate alliances whispered. But beneath all their anger lay one undeniable truth. The galaxy's balance had shifted. Back in orbit, Hayes gave the order no one expected. "Stand down," he told his fleet. "We are alive because of it. Until we understand more, we do not fire." Some of his captains protested, but deep down they all knew the truth. They could not match its power, friend or foe. Humanity had been thrust into a new age, whether ready or not. As the warship drifted silently above Earth, its presence pressed on every human heart. Soldiers felt pride and fear tangled together. Civilians dared to hope even as they trembled. And somewhere deep inside, the warship seemed to pulse with hidden energy, as though it were waiting for something, or someone. The alien fleet, broken but not destroyed, began to retreat. Their ships warped out of the system one by one, tails tucked between their legs. But their overlord remained, glaring at the mysterious warship with venom in his eyes. His voice crackled over the comms, a vow carried across the stars. "This is not over. Humanity will pay for this insult. We will bring fire greater than your cursed protector can withstand." His image cut out, but his words remained. Admiral Hayes turned to his crew, his face hard. "He's right about one thing. This is not over." Above them, the warship's glowing vanes brightened for a moment, as if in answer. Then its lights dimmed again, leaving only silence. Hayes felt a chill crawl up his spine. Was it listening to them? Was it alive? The questions grew heavier with every passing second, and then, deep within the warship's hull, something stirred. A new signal flickered across human senses, faint but clear. It was not alien. It was not unknown. It was human. The alien fleets were gone, retreating into the void with their pride shattered, but the silence they left behind was not relief. Earth's skies were still filled with smoke, burning wreckage falling through the atmosphere like dying stars. Entire cities lay in ruins, their people crushed beneath the memory of fire. Humanity had survived the first strike, but not because of their strength. It was because of the warship. The mysterious vessel hung above Earth like a dark moon, unmoving, unblinking, watching. Its presence gave comfort and dread in equal measure. Some called it a savior. Others called it a cage. On the bridge of the human flagship, Admiral Hayes studied the readings on his console. The warship was immense, with power readings beyond comprehension, but the new signal that had flickered moments ago disturbed him more than its weapons. It was human. The data was old, coded in languages Earth hadn't used in centuries, yet clear enough to recognize. "This ship," Hayes whispered. "It's tied to us somehow." His officers exchanged nervous glances. If the warship was human, why had no one known of it before? If it was built by their ancestors, why had it waited until now to reveal itself? The warship moved again, and every defense system on Earth snapped to alert. Its docking bays yawned wide, and once more craft began to emerge. Sleek vessels with markings from lost colonies, ships no one thought had survived. They did not scatter, nor did they attack. They formed a line in front of Earth's battered fleets, shielding them like guardians. For the first time in the war, humanity's fleet wasn't standing alone. Across the galaxy, in the alien council chambers, the images caused uproar. Holograms flickered with the sight of human warships, old and new, united under the shadow of the mysterious vessel. Council members shouted, their voices clashing like storms. "This cannot be allowed!" One insectoid leader screeched, his mandibles rattling. "If humanity rallies behind this thing, their rise will spread like a plague." Another councillor, pale with fear, whispered what none dared to say aloud. Perhaps the legends were true. Perhaps the forerunners left it for them. The chamber froze in silence at that thought. If this warship was a gift, then no power in the galaxy could stop humanity now. Back in orbit, Hayes finally made the call. "Open comms. Send a message to all surviving ships. Prepare to regroup under the protection of the warship." His officers hesitated. "Sir, are we following it?" Hayes clenched his jaw. "We don't have a choice. It has already decided." As the message went out, human. The warship loomed over Earth like a giant sentinel, its surface alive with glowing veins of light. Humanity's battered fleets drifted in its shadow, their confidence restored, but their questions multiplying. It had saved them. It had spoken for them. And now it had summoned them. Messages carried across human space. Old colonies, forgotten outposts, even families who had abandoned Earth long ago were hearing the call. Humanity was gathering, drawn back under one banner they had not chosen but could not refuse. The mystery deepened. Who had built this vessel, and why did it call itself human? Admiral Hayes paced the command bridge of Earth's flagship, his hands behind his back, his mind weighed down with doubts. Every sensor sweep of the warship revealed impossible readings. Its shields defied known science. Its weapons could erase battleships with a single strike. And its power core was not just energy, it pulsed like a heartbeat. Hayes finally gave the order that his officers had feared. "Prepare a boarding team. We need answers. If this ship speaks for humanity, then humanity has the right to know what it is." Shuttles detached from the flagship, drifting toward the massive docking bays of the warship. Soldiers, scientists, and engineers made up the team, their faces tense behind helmets. None knew what waited inside. As their craft entered the bay, silence fell. The interior was vast, larger than any hangar they had ever seen. The walls curved high above them, glowing faintly with blue light, like veins running through the metal. It was not just a ship, it felt like a cathedral. The soldiers advanced cautiously, weapons ready, but no enemy came. Instead, the walls shifted as though alive, forming paths that guided them deeper. Every step echoed with tension. The scientists murmured as they scanned the surroundings. "This alloy, it's not alien. It matches Earth metals, but it's been altered at the atomic level. This is human technology, but far beyond anything we can create." The words sent a shiver through the group. If the ship was human, then where had it come from? Deeper inside, they found something that silenced them all. Chambers filled with pods, lined in endless rows, glowing softly. Each pod contained a figure, humans. Some looked young, others old, their bodies suspended in stasis. Their uniforms were unfamiliar, their insignias from nations that no longer existed. "My God!" one soldier whispered, pressing a hand against the glass. "They've been here for centuries." Hayes' voice cracked over comms. "These aren't soldiers. These are the missing." colonists who vanished, explorers who never returned. They've been here all along. The discovery spread like fire across the fleet. Humanity's past was alive inside the warship, preserved and hidden. But why? The answer came moments later when the walls themselves lit up. A holographic figure appeared before the boarding team, shifting, unstable, but unmistakably human. Its voice was calm, layered with echoes of thousands. "You seek answers. You deserve them." The soldiers froze, hearts pounding. The hologram looked like no single person, but like every human face blurred together. It was as if the ship itself had become the voice of humanity. The hologram continued. "This vessel was forged long ago, when humanity first reached for the stars. We were not weak then, we were hunted. The galaxy feared us even before we knew their names. This ship was our shield, built in secret, hidden until the day we would need it again." That day is now. Shock rippled through the team. Humanity had never been told of such a ship. The history books were silent. Yet here it was, undeniable, alive before them. "Why reveal yourself now?" Hayes demanded over the channel. The hologram turned, its many faces flickering like a storm. "Because you stood when others bowed. You bled when others surrendered. Humanity has been judged worthy again." The boarding team trembled at those words. This warship was not just a relic. It was a judge, a weapon, a guardian, all in one. But unease grew in Hayes's heart. Worthy again. The words implied choice. It implied humanity had failed before. And if it had failed once, could it fail again? Before more could be said, alarms blared. Sensors lit up across the fleet. The alien overlord had returned, this time not with retreat, but with fury. Massive carriers, planet crackers, and forbidden weapons surged into the system. The Alien Council had gambled everything on one final strike. Earth was about to be crushed under the largest fleet the galaxy had ever assembled. On the warship, the hologram's many voices spoke as one. "Stand with us and you will endure. Stand without us and you will fall." Hayes clenched his fists. Humanity had no choice but to follow. But deep down, fear gnawed at him. The warship claimed to fight for them, but it spoke like a master, not an ally. The boarding team looked back at the rows of humans sleeping in pods, their faces frozen in time. Were they guardians waiting to awaken, or prisoners of a war long forgotten? Outside, the alien doomsday fleet filled the void with fire. The warship's veins glowed brighter than ever before, pulsing like a living heart. Humanity braced for the storm, caught between the wrath of the galaxy and the secrets of their greatest weapon. And then, the warship spoke one final word before unleashing its power. Now, the galaxy had never seen a fleet this large. From the farthest colonies of the Alien Council to their most guarded arsenals, ships poured into the void around Earth. Thousands of carriers, dreadnoughts, cruisers, and weapons platforms filled the stars until the darkness itself seemed replaced by steel. At the center of it all, the alien overlord's flagship loomed, a vessel the size of a small moon, its hull bristling with planet-cracking cannons. The Council had gambled everything. They would not only reclaim their pride, but erase humanity completely, even if it meant burning Earth to ash. On Earth, people huddled in shelters, staring at the skies lit by alien engines. Entire continents trembled beneath the shadows of descending ships. Families whispered last prayers. Soldiers prepared for hopeless battles, and children asked questions no parent could answer. Humanity had never faced such firepower. Their fleets, broken and weak, drifted helplessly. The warship was their only shield. And even it now faced a storm unlike any in history. Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of his flagship, his jaw tight as reports streamed in. Multiple enemy fleets converging. Planetary bombardment weapons detected. Sir, it's the entire Council. Hayes's voice was hard as steel. So they bring everything. Then this is the battle that decides it all. His crew looked at him with both fear and pride. They all knew the truth. If the warship failed, there would be nothing left of Earth. The mysterious vessel remained silent, its massive form glowing with veins of light. Brighter and brighter until the stars themselves seemed dim. Every human soldier, every terrified civilian fixed their eyes on it, waiting. Then at the edge of every comm channel, the voices returned. "Humanity, stand! This is your trial." The words shook them to the core. Trial, it did not call this a battle or a war. It called it a test. The alien overlord laughed when he heard the transmission. Trial? They think themselves gods. We will show them despair. He raised his clawed hand, and his fleets unleashed their fury. Thousands of beams of energy ripped across the void, converging on the warship. The blast was so massive, Earth's atmosphere shook, and cities below quaked as if struck by an earthquake. For minutes, the onslaught continued, a torrent of fire no vessel could withstand, and when the flames cleared, the warship still stood. Its shields flared with golden light, cracked in places but unbroken. Gasps filled the human command decks, while silence chilled the alien fleets. The impossible had happened again. But this time, humanity noticed something they had not before. The shields had faltered. For the first time since its arrival, the warship had shown weakness. On the boarding team, deep inside its halls, the scientists scrambled. "The shields are straining," one shouted. "They're not infinite. Whatever powers this ship, it can bleed." Admiral Hayes clenched his fists. If the aliens kept firing like this, even the warship might fall. Humanity's protector was not invincible. The hologram flickered again, its many human faces staring down at them. "You must stand with us. Alone, we will falter. Together, we will rise." The words rang with command, but Hayes felt the weight of choice press harder. Was this truly their ally, or was it binding them to something greater, something they could not escape? Outside, the warship finally struck back. Its weapons flared, beams of light tearing across the alien armadas. Entire carriers exploded in silence, fleets scattered as their strongest shields cracked under its fury. Yet for every alien ship destroyed, 10 more moved in. The void burned with fire and wreckage, a battle so vast that even Earth's surface glowed with its reflection. The alien overlord roared with hatred, his voice echoing across the comms. "It bleeds. Press the attack! Break their false god!" His fleets swarmed, suicidal in their fury. They had chosen annihilation over retreat. Humanity's survival now depended on whether the warship could outlast them. In the shelters, humanity's people wept and shouted as one. They no longer cared who commanded the warship, no longer cared if it was human or alien. All that mattered was survival. Children raised their fists. Civilians screamed the same word again and again. "Fight! Fight!" For the first time in history, all of humanity was united. Not under governments, not under leaders, but under the shadow of a single warship. But the battle was not yet won. The boarding teams discovered deeper chambers, locked doors with symbols glowing faintly. They opened one and gasped. Inside, machines unlike anything they had seen pulsed with light, powering the ship. At the center of it all was a crystal-like core, glowing with human DNA sequences encoded in energy. The scientists froze. "It's alive," one whispered. "This ship, it's part human." Alarms blared again. The warship shuddered under the alien assault, its shields flickering dangerously. Hayes shouted over the comms, "All human ships, form up! Give it cover!" "We stand with it." Battered Earth vessels surged forward, broken hulls blazing as they dove into the enemy. Humanity would not stand idle. They would fight even against the impossible. The warship's veins pulsed brighter, answering their courage. Its weapons fired again, tearing holes through the Council's fleets. Yet as the void filled with fire, Hayes realized the truth. The warship was not fighting alone anymore. It was fighting with them, and together they were something greater. But as the alien armada broke and burned, the Overlord revealed his final weapon. From the depths of space, something larger than even the warship emerged. A planet cracker so vast it blocked out the stars, its core burning like a miniature sun. The Overlord's laughter echoed. "Let us see if your godship can stand against the end of worlds." Humanity stared at the monstrous weapon moving into range, dwarfing everything they had ever seen. The warship's veins flickered weakly, drained from the battle. For the first time, fear gripped every human heart again, and then the hologram spoke one last time before the clash. Humanity has stood, but to rise, you must sacrifice. The warship's veins flared, and the stars themselves seemed to tremble. The stars themselves seemed to dim as the alien overlord's final weapon emerged. It was not just a ship. It was a planet cracker, a fortress the size of a world, its hull glowing red with the energy of a captive star. Entire fleets surrounded it like insects around a burning flame, feeding it power, channeling their strength into its core. The weapon turned slowly toward Earth, its superheated heart blazing brighter with every passing second. Humanity had seen many horrors, but never this. This was not a fleet designed to conquer. It was a weapon designed to erase. On Earth, sirens wailed as the planet cracker's readings were broadcast worldwide. Civilians stared in disbelief, some falling to their knees, others screaming, while many simply froze in silent terror. "It can burn the whole planet," one scientist whispered in a bunker. "Not just the cities, not just the oceans, everything. Earth itself could be gone in seconds." The word spread through every shelter, filling humanity with dread. They had fought, they had endured, but this was the end made real. Admiral Hayes stood on the command deck of his flagship, sweat dripping down his brow. His crew waited for orders, but even he struggled to find words. Before them, the mysterious warship hovered, its glowing veins dimming under the weight of the battle. Its shields flickered, its power drained. For the first time, it looked mortal. Hayes clenched his fists. "If it falls, Earth falls with it," he said quietly. Then louder, "Signal every surviving ship, this is it." We hold nothing back. The human fleet surged forward, broken hulls blazing as they dove headlong into alien formations. Pilots who had nothing left to lose screamed into their comms, charging suicide runs. Shattered frigates rammed into enemy carriers, detonating in blinding fire. Humanity's courage was raw, desperate, and terrifying. Even the alien crews faltered as they watched humans hurl themselves into death without hesitation. They whispered in fear, Deathworlders. Yet for every alien ship destroyed, more poured in, guarding the planet cracker as its colossal weapon charged. The void burned with explosions, wreckage spinning across space. Earth's skies glowed red, as if the world itself was already on fire. And in the center of it all, the warship struggled to stand. Inside the warship's halls, the boarding team raced deeper, guided by pulsing lights in the walls. They reached the heart of the vessel, the crystal-like core that pulsed with human DNA encoded in light. The scientists shouted over the roar of alarms. "It's not just powered by technology, it's powered by us. This ship is humanity." The realization struck like lightning. The warship's strength wasn't infinite. It needed humans, not just to command it, but to be it. The hologram appeared again, faces shifting in endless waves. Its voice filled their ears. "You have stood, but to endure, you must give more." The meaning was clear. Sacrifice. Admiral Hayes received the same transmission. He looked at his weary officers, at the men and women who had already given everything. His chest tightened. "If this ship is us, then it needs all of us." He opened the comms, his voice echoing to every surviving human ship. "Brothers and sisters of Earth, our ancestors left this warship for us, but it cannot fight alone. It needs what we carry in our blood, our strength, our will. If you want to live free, if you want your children to see another dawn, then give it everything." All across the fleet, humanity answered. Soldiers, scientists, even civilians in bunkers pressed their hands against consoles and screens, screaming their defiance. Billions of voices joined together, raw with fury and hope. At that moment, the warship's veins blazed brighter, pulsing with the rhythm of 1 billion human hearts. Its shields flared back to life, stronger than before, and its weapons charged with impossible power. The alien overlord's laughter broke into silence as he saw it. His confidence shattered. No, this is impossible." He turned to his lieutenants, but their eyes were wide with terror. The humans had become more than survivors. They had become something unstoppable. The warship roared to life, its cannons unleashing waves of destruction. Entire alien fleets disintegrated in seconds. The void turned into fire as the warship carved through the armada. But even as it triumphed, the planet cracker continued to charge. Its core blazed like a second sun, building to release a strike that would annihilate Earth itself. Hayes gritted his teeth, watching the impossible clash unfold. "We can't stop that thing," he muttered. "Not unless—" He froze, eyes widening, as he realized what the warship meant by sacrifice. It wasn't just asking for power. It was asking for lives. The hologram's voice thundered again. "One final act. Humanity must choose. Destroy the weapon or survive its fire." The warship's weapons aligned, glowing brighter than ever before. The humans aboard felt the choice pressing down on them. To destroy the planet cracker would mean unleashing power so great it might consume the warship itself. But if they hesitated, Earth would be lost. Admiral Hayes whispered the words every soul already knew. "We don't get to survive unless we're willing to die for it." He raised his hand, his voice shaking as he gave the order. "Fire!" The warship's heart flared, brighter than the sun, brighter than anything the galaxy had ever seen. And then the void went white. The void was pure white, a blinding storm of light that consumed everything. For a moment there was no space, no stars, no fleets, only silence and fire. Then slowly the light faded, and the battlefield returned. What remained was chaos. Wreckage floated everywhere, shattered alien ships drifting like broken bones in the dark. The mighty fleets of the Council were gone, annihilated in an instant. But the warship too was silent, its glowing veins dim, its massive hull cracked and torn. On Earth, billions stared at the sky, holding their breath. Was it victory, or had their last protector fallen? The silence pressed heavier than any battle. Then through the drifting smoke of space, the truth became clear. The planet cracker was gone. The weapon that could have erased Earth had been shattered to dust. Humanity's world was still there, scarred but alive. Cheers erupted across the bunkers, across the ships, across the planet itself. Humanity had survived, but survival came at a cost. The warship, once blazing with unstoppable power, now floated dark and broken. Its shields gone, its weapons silent. Its docking bays hung open, and debris spilled from its wounds. On the command deck of his flagship, Admiral Hayes stood in silence, unable to move. "It saved us," he whispered, voice trembling. "It gave everything." For the first time in the war, his crew saw tears in his eyes. The boarding team inside the warship staggered through ruined corridors, their lights flickering against walls scorched and broken. The great core chamber still pulsed, but faintly, like a dying heart. The hologram appeared one last time, its faces flickering and unstable. "Humanity," it whispered, voice soft now, almost human. "You stood, you bled. You rose." The team froze, listening to the ship's final words. "This was our gift, left for you when we were lost. But it is not the last. Others wait, hidden in the stars. When the galaxy strikes again, you will not be alone." Then the hologram faded, and the core went dark. Back on Earth, the news spread like fire. Humanity had not only survived, they had defeated the greatest fleets of the galaxy. The alien council, once untouchable, was broken and humiliated. Across alien worlds, fear spread. If humanity could rise from ashes with one warship, what would happen if more of these vessels awakened? Would humanity become rulers, conquerors, or protectors? The galaxy trembled with the question. In the council chambers, chaos erupted. Some demanded immediate surrender, terrified of provoking humanity again. Others screamed for vengeance, refusing to accept defeat. But beneath their fury lay the truth they could not deny. Humanity was no longer prey. They were predators, armed with weapons older and greater than anything the galaxy had known. On Earth, Hayes stood before the wrecked warship, its shadow still cast across the planet. He felt pride, sorrow, and unease all at once. Humanity had won, but not alone. They had been guided, shielded, and tested by something they barely understood. As he looked up at the broken hull, he whispered, "We will carry this forward. Whatever you were, wherever you came from, we won't forget." In the silence of deep space, sensors flickered. Far beyond Earth, in forgotten corners of the galaxy, faint pulses of light answered the call. One by one, other hidden warships stirred, their veins glowing faintly as if waking from a long sleep. They were not dead. They were waiting, and as the alien council watched in horror, they realized the war for Earth had only been the beginning. Humanity was rising, armed with legends, united by fire. The galaxy had wanted to erase them. Instead, it had created its greatest threat.